Ready? Okay.
It's a river.
All right, if you guys would all, I'm going to call this meeting to order, and if you would all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then remain standing for a moment of silence. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Jamie, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Queen Barr.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson.
Yeah, here.
Oh, yes. That'd be you.
Trustee Denise Bryan.
Here.
Trustee McMahon.
Yeah.
Trustee Richard Tokar.
Here.
Trustee Brett McWhorter.
Here.
Trustee Ed Hallow.
Present.
And student liaison Tori McKinley.
Okay, we have a quorum, so we will continue on. Next on the agenda is approval of the agenda, and I would entertain a motion.
I move we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Trustee Brent McWhorter and a second by Trustee Denise Bryan to approve the agenda as presented by staff. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Next is the approval of the minutes of March 27th, 2024, and I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented by staff.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Trustee Denise Bryan and a second by Trustee Richard Toker to approve the minutes of March 27th, 2024 as presented by staff. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sound. Okay, motion carries. Next on the agenda is the Arbor Day 2024 proclamation. So I will read this real fast. Celebrate Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our town increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Queenie Barr, as Mayor of the town of Mancos, Colorado, do hereby proclaim Friday, April 26, 2024, as Arbor Day in the town of Mancos, Colorado, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated this 10th day of April 2024, Mayor Queenie Barr. Okay, moving right along, we have our treasurer's report, our March bills and claims. Do you have any questions? Then I would entertain a motion.
I move we approve the bills and claims as presented by staff. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson and a second by Trustee Britt McWhorter to accept the March bills and claims as presented by staff. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sound. Motion carries. Audience business, and it doesn't look like we have anybody signed up to speak. We have some guests here from Cortez. Would you guys like to speak at all?
They're on the agenda.
They're on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Announcements.
Jerry has an announcement, that's it for staff tonight.
Our new water tank up at the water plant, we will start filling it the first part of the week.
Cool.
Woohoo!
Great. Thanks, Terry.
Are we going to have an opening or something up there?
Let's hope not, it's a brand new tank.
No, no, we were going to go, oh, construction site's not complete, okay. Okay, anybody else have any announcements? Did you talk to Tori and tell her? Okay, she's gonna announce that? You want to, Tori, or you want me to? About the prom?
She has a student liaison.
There's a student liaison part.
Yeah.
Report.
Okay. All right, any other announcements? Okay, moving right along to committee reports. Montezuma County Commissioner, and I don't see Gerald here. The student liaison update?
So currently we're preparing for prom, and the Cowboy Church, right, is doing like a pre-prom dinner before prom, and then we'll go back to after prom for all the high schoolers who are interested. And the student council is also going to go to Grand Junction on a field trip this week.
Nice.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Do you want to hear in track and field is having a meeting? Okay.
I know they had one today, but I
Oh.
don't remember that.
They're in Durango right now.
Okay.
That's why Dean is not here.
I see them practicing every day, so I'm just curious if there's going to be a local meeting.
The 26th of April is the first.
Great.
Oh.
Here.
Yeah, it's the home one.
Okay. Region 9 update.
Just, once a month, they kind of send out like what they and their staff have been doing, like where they've gone, who they've met, and so on. So I'm not gonna bore you with all that, but just a few, under a few of their headings, their business development and finance. They received 20 business inquiries about loan funding. And out of that was just, one of them was for Montezuma County. 3 was Cortez, none for Mancos at this point. There was something else that I thought was, we've talked about their enterprise zone and their rural jumpstart. They've got 40 inquiries about their enterprise zone, and 18 of those came from Montezuma County. They've gone out with their marketing and outreach, their grant programs. They received 27 grant inquiries, and 3 were from Montezuma County. And then it gets into the regional infrastructure, and they've been really busy with this broadband. And I think Heather might be updating us a little bit about that, or Jason or someone tonight. And they meet weekly with the housing, so they're still busy with housing, transportation, and of those 3 things I mentioned between housing and broadband and transportation, Jack kind of heads up these, and so it kind of just gives an update of where they're at. This transportation was interesting. Shaq was working with a subcommittee of the rural transit, coordinating the council to help address transportation for students going out to PCC here. And 48.4 face challenges with transportation to the PCC campuses. 87.1% are traveling to the Mancos campus. So to keep these, it just seems that they're really addressing to keep this college, this going. So that's been right up their list, and more with TPR, but Heather can fill you in, or Richard, on that kind of thing they're doing. But they're busy all the time, and I'm kind of misreading this. I always feel like I'm really in the loop. So no, these are this is kind of over their month. So this would have been all of their last month. And what all of their different staff members doing. They have what Laura's doing, Terry's doing, Brian's doing, Jack's doing.
Thank you, Denise.
The TPR meeting is tomorrow.
Oh,
So
right.
we'll have it the next.
Okay.
And we'll have something on the Region 9 broadband grant, probably on the agenda.
When?
May 10th.
Oh, okay.
It'll be an FYI more than anything, so in on the 10th. Next meeting, we're just wondering if anybody in the law housekeeping to do. So we'll put that on.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll move right along to our discussion and action items. We have a public hearing for Hand in Hand Shop LLC liquor license application. And so I'm going to open the public hearing at 7:11. Do we have anybody here to speak regarding this application?
Hannah is here.
The owner's here.
The staff report is wrong, it says $50
I
there.
know
It was
that.
updated.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I was
The rest
confused.
of it is correct with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, that's what it
Okay,
is.
all right.
Good, go ahead.
Up there?
Yes.
Sure, yes.
Please come up and state your name and address and tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Okay, sure. Hi, my name is Hannah Sturm. My address for like where I live personally is 673 Riverside. So I know Queenie, we were neighbors for a little bit there. And so I know you met Ren last time. So I'm the other half of the partnership, and I guess you met Sam too. So I think she went through kind of what we're doing. It's a book and wine shop mostly, with some other fun offerings and gifts and stuff that we'll have there, but mainly books and wine. So this is dealing with obviously the wine and liquor license part of that. So as far as that goes, we're going for a tavern license with to-go and or / delivery option. Yeah, that's kind of the move.
Okay. Anybody else here to speak?
I have a question.
Wait a minute.
That's not yet.
That comes back. All right, then I'm going to close the public hearing at,
If Cindy has a question for the applicant
Yeah.
or the
Okay.
staff, please leave it open.
okay.
Yeah.
And then the board is ready to discuss amongst yourselves, then we will close the public hearing and discuss amongst yourselves.
Okay, all right.
Now do I remember the question? One is, when you're delivering, is that like a bottle of wine or is that like individual drinks?
Right. So we're really not going to be doing tons of like delivery. It might be an option that we come to. It would be like a bottle.
Mhm.
There was a lot of discussion and a lot of trying to figure out the best way to do this so that people can sit and have a glass of wine,
Mhm.
but also we can sell retail bottles
Mhm.
because it's kind of this, we want to be able to do both.
Yeah.
And so there really was, we spent a lot of time talking to the state about what the best avenue to do this, and what they told us over the phone was that to do it this way. And that is because of the House bill, the 1373 House bill, which is up for, there's another election on that in 2025. If for whatever reason that doesn't get passed and continues on, obviously we'll readdress. We would probably end up going to just like a straight retail license at that point. But hopefully we just can continue on and do it as we do so that people can come and sit and have a glass.
Yeah. And my other question was kind of a follow-up to that, is there is a limitation on percent of sales
Sure.
that, I just want to make sure.
Not for tavern.
You saw that.
Tavern license.
I thought I saw it in here.
There was one for takeout, it was 50%.
For takeout,
Yeah.
yes, but for tavern license, there is no restrictions.
Oh, okay.
Food is
All right.
also not, I have a tavern license. Food is also not a requirement of the percentage of sales.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I misread it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anybody, any
Thank
other
you.
questions of her? Okay, and I'm going to close it at 7:15 p.m. and bring it back to the Board of Trustees. Anybody have any comments?
No, everything looks good to me.
Then I would entertain a motion.
I move we approve the new tavern license and takeout and delivery permit application for Hand in Hand Shop LLC, conditional upon state approval, and authorize the town clerk treasurer to send the application to the state.
I'll second that.
Okay, We have a motion by trustee Brent McWhorter and a second by trustee Ed Hallam to approve the new tavern license and takeout and delivery permit for Hand in Hand Shop LLC, conditional upon state approval, and authorize the town clerk treasurer to send the application to the state. Jamie, would you call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson.
Aye.
Trustee Denise Ryan.
Aye.
Trustee McManus.
Aye.
Trustee Richard Tovar.
Aye.
Trustee Brett McWhorter.
Aye.
Trustee Ed Hallam.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Moving right along, we have Resolution 8, Series 2024, the 2024 dispatch agreement renewal.
So we talked about this at a previous meeting. We had some questions about the contract. I have met with the Cortez City Manager and the County Administrator. We worked out some of those issues, specifically the Tabor issue with regard to appropriating funds every year. I am asking again that we renew for this renewal. We're going to continue to work together. We've had meetings and discussions. Staff is going to continue to work with them, our marshal, the police chief, the administrators, and then staff is going to continue to do some research. So I'm asking you again to approve the agreement so that we can work well with everybody. We definitely do the dispatch services. We don't have much, and we have to have dispatch services for our citizens and our staff. So I wanted you to know that we have worked well together. We've had discussions. We're continuing discussions. The one Tabor issue that was a big deal kind of last time has been addressed. Some of our other concerns have been addressed, and we're working on it. So I'm asking again if you all please approve the contract. The contract itself hasn't changed. However, some of the questions that I had before haven't been answered and addressed. So at this point, we're just asking if you renew it so that we can operate business as usual and that staff can continue working behind the scenes to address any lingering issues or continue ways to collaborate and develop the project.
Drew, do you have anything you want to say in regards to this?
Mayor and council, we are merely here to be a resource for you. If you have any specific questions, we're happy to do that. Other than that, she stated it all. We have been in contact, and I hear exactly what she said.
What prompted this change? Because this is abrupt and it's a lot.
Would you come up to the podium and state your name for the record so that it's on record?
Yeah, good evening, Mayor and Council. Drew Sanders, City Manager, City of Cortez, and I'm accompanied by Dennis Spruill, one of our City Council members, but he is also assigned by our council as the council liaison to the dispatch center, so that's his tie to this. So specifically your question, Mayor Pro Tem, was, again, I didn't hear you very well, I'm sorry.
What prompted this? Because it's kind of sudden and it seems really abrupt.
What specifically are you referring to?
The fact that we're shut out of almost every decision-making, if not every decision-making.
Let me clarify that. In what we received when we saw this, it basically stated that the city and the county, as the two larger units, were going to make the decisions and did not wish to have all of the other entities participate in the discussion and the processes that will come from that.
Okay, I think I know what you're referring to. Thank you for that. I think that was some unfortunate communication between our various legal counsels, and by the time that question got to him, I think there was some communication back that stated, look, we've already kind of decided. That was unfortunate. That's not our message, but so much water had gone under the bridge at that point that it just got to the point of like, well, everybody else has pretty much signed this. So now, that ship has sailed a little bit. That's not to say that we're not open to decision-making and so on. We want that. There were some changes here that, resulted in the Tabor thing. But I have a responsibility to our city to make sure that its interests are covered as well when it comes to costs and so on. Because as you probably remember from that, we're doing a capital outlay first, so we're paying it well ahead of time in a year in advance, and then it's always catching up a year behind. So the way it had been written was the city was left on the hook. Should somebody leave, the city was just left holding the bag essentially on those fees. So we had to correct that. But everything else, that was an unfortunate communication. And the reality is, even though I have full faith in our respective attorneys, sometimes it requires somebody like Heather or I to say, pick up the phone and talk to each other. This stuff with going back with emails and stuff, it results in these sort of miscommunications, and I regret that.
Yeah, we were taken back.
Yeah, and honestly, we're looking at the red line version where now the Cortez police chief has the sole discretion to make decisions. And, you know, just as you have to take care of Cortez citizens, we have to take care of Manka's citizens. And I think I was offended by the email as well as by this agreement. Yeah, I'm extremely disappointed in this because it just looks like a giant power grab. And I think that's really unfortunate.
I'm sorry that it comes across like that way. That is not supposed to be the way it's, or that's not the message that's intended. The reality is somebody has to, you know, be the first among equals, and somebody has to guide the ship. And so we were trying to tighten it up to make things run a little smoother. But the reality is, the city of Cortez does govern that, but it does have a board. That's what you all are part of, and that's, you know, part of what Councilmember Sproul is part of as well. Our message, and we don't treat our partners roughly. We just don't. And, if it comes across that way, I apologize, but that is not the case, and nor is that meant to change basically what the structure is or how complaints or input is received. In fact, what that really does in my mind, and my perspective on that was, that actually elevates our police chief to be more accountable.
That's a way to look at it. For us, as the party being forced to sign something like this, you know, I really, and I'm trying to watch my words because I do want to have a good working relationship, but this is, the Cortez police chief has all the cards, and that's not how I like to play. It just seems like, although there may still be a committee or a group, member jurisdictions have absolutely no power. We've been asking for itemization of expenses. We're handing over, what, 80 grand a year more? 40 and 60? And we have yet to receive, as far as I know, any kind of itemization of where is our money going? How is it being spent? How are we not having backup when we need it? We back up the sheriff's office all the time. And why aren't we getting backup from calls that are dangerous? And I'm really afraid that we're signing something that is really not in the best interests of our constituents. So.
Please.
I'm not familiar with your email, but let me try to explain to you.
It's not my email, it's the email we received.
Okay, and let me explain to how it should have sounded. I don't know what it sounded like. Let me give you a little background. I was the sheriff of Montezuma County, and I was really perturbed with dispatch because I thought they were overcharging. And so I did a 2-day study. I brought people in from out of town to tell me what they could do for my dispatch services so I could have my own dispatch service. And they came in, sat down for 2 days, did everything in their power to convince me that they had the best deal for us. And really, it was the best deal for me because I would now have control over all the dispatchers, over all the dispatch services. The only thing was, it would cost me about $1.5 million. And so it was just impossible. I couldn't do it. So I'm still upset. So I go to the city and I say, what's going on here? And they explain to me how it functioned, how it worked. And I think what the email should have said, and I don't want to correct whoever wrote, I don't know anything about it, is the chief of police only functions as the director of the personnel, which is dispatch services. So if you're unhappy with what's happening with the dispatch service, you yourself wouldn't call a dispatcher and say, I'm going to give you 3 days off. You would call the chief or the undersheriff or assistant chief of police and say, we've had an issue, here's the issue. It's up to them to do something about it. If they don't do something about it, you certainly have some recourse. And that is to keep complaining and eventually get to the board, and the board will do something about it. But when you go to a dispatch meeting, Pleasant View has as much voice and vote as Montezuma County Sheriff. Mancos certainly has as much say-so as anybody else there. It doesn't matter who you work for, because you're still part of this organization. And we listen to everybody, and everybody's called upon to add or take away, and they certainly do. So that's kind of the background of how that works. If Mancos has an issue with it, the way it's being dispatched, they need to complain. They don't need to sit on it.
We have.
Have we not complained?
Is there nothing being done?
Has
Nothing.
there been recourse?
So I would say that we have brought, to the best of my knowledge, because Marshall's here, again, I don't want to put him on the spot because he wasn't prepared to speak. He'd like to be prepared to speak. He has brought those issues to the attention of either the group or the police chief under the old agreement. I think some of the concerns with the new agreement are that there's some language that says may or might. Instead of, if we bring something to his attention, he shall take action, it's he may take action.
Yeah.
Those are the concerns. What I will say for you all is since the last meeting, Drew and I have spent a lot of time meeting and on the phone, because at this point, this has risen to this level outside of their level. So we are working out concerns. They have concerns, we have concerns. We're working on them. We're troubleshooting them. We're throwing ideas around, but it does take time. Some of the issues that have come up since Drew and I have taken over and started talking about this from this level, from the management level, is are items that we're going to need some time to figure out. He has absolutely been willing to do that, which is why I am comfortable asking you to sign this today to give us time to either tighten up the language, figure out the issues that we're having, come up with some ideas and come up with some recourse. You know, I'm not shy in my opinion. If I wasn't comfortable, I'd be having the same conversation that I had at the last meeting.
Well, I do see in here where they changed it, where it did say where you could request a meeting, but the chief may or may not honor your request. And this new one under C, it just says any member jurisdiction may request a meeting by sending a written request to the court chief. But it doesn't say whether he may or may not honor it.
Well, those are the things, those are items that we will be discussing when some more important issues are resolved. If that's my plan, and I don't want to get through with those, but we have, I think, bigger issues to deal with right now. That we're trying to resolve, that if we want to schedule a different meeting to discuss those, I think we can, but I don't necessarily want to go into them tonight. So we're working on some bigger, more important issues, and once those are resolved, we can figure out some of this other stuff, because specifically with regard to that language, I can honestly tell you, I seriously doubt Justin is going to be asking for a meeting while Drew and I are still working on this.
Sure.
So I don't want to say, I am uncomfortable asking you to sign a contract or I'm not like 100% I love it. But what I will say is Drew and Travis in good faith are working with us. And I'm working with them as well.
Yeah.
Because there have been some concerns brought to my attention that we are trying to work on.
My issue is that Mancus has had a long history of signing agreements with handshake deals and promises, not just with the city of Cortez, but the county and other entities. And we get screwed every time. And so I'm really wary of this, oh, sign it now and we'll fix it later. You know, it's like a bait and switch.
Only it's like, what's the point of signing this if we're just going to change it?
But the
Why not
pro-
sign
the
what we're
proper-
actually going to agree to?
We do have a deadline on this. If we
There's a
don't sign it,
time.
then we don't have dispatch services, which puts our people in more danger.
Yeah.
I'm not real happy in signing it either because I don't like the may call a meeting. I want it to be will call. You know, there's just some language in here that is very upsetting to me to put my name on it, but I also want to take care of our people. And
Oh, yeah.
And I want Justin to be able to call and have the backup when he's needed. And so we have to sign this, and then we do have to work on it because that word may needs to come out of there.
Well, and I agree with Cindy. And if we do have a history of some of the weird deals.
Right.
We're all aware of what those deals are, the 99 years and that kind of thing. And like I said, normally I would not be asking you to sign a contract that I did not agree with or that our attorney had concerns about. But at the same time, I do feel that this is a special situation. They are our sole source for dispatch. And we want our staff and our citizens to be safe and well.
Right.
And again, if Drew and Travis have been completely non-responsive, or if I've gotten some pushback, I'm not shy. I would have sat there and said, I hate this, you're not doing that, I have to do something else out.
Sure.
I will absolutely put myself out there in this particular instance to say, I need you guys to agree to this and understand that we will continue to work. And if it comes to an impasse, I'll bring that back to you. If we can come to an agreement, I'll bring that back to you as well. But we do need a little bit of time to work out other issues as well as the.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I just think that since we have the two people that are in control of the situation here, you need to hear it from us that we are not happy. This is not okay. And our staff, when they are reaching out, are acting on our behalf. And we're not happy with this. We'll probably approve it because we can't leave our constituents without 911 protection. But it's appalling. It really is.
Can I just ask one really quick question and then love to hear from Justin? So just to be really blunt, Heather, you trust the good faith effort will continue even if we sign this?
I absolutely do.
Okay.
If it stops, I will absolutely let you know.
Okay.
Drew knows, I'm
I know you're not shy. I mean, everybody comes full force when you're in a negotiation, right? Everybody puts good faith forward. And once you sign it, often there's a,
I will not let that happen. I am a bulldog in certain instances. I won't let it happen. And again, at some point, it is out of my hands. And I don't think that Drew, I don't speak for Drew, but I don't think Drew's gonna let that happen.
Okay.
We're both aware of how important this issue is now, and it is something that is on both of our radar. We talk on a regular basis. We will continue.
Okay.
I do not think that they will just stonewall us.
And Drew, we should trust your good faith effort. Be outside.
Of course.
Okay, great.
We don't do handshake agreements, but we do, offer our, that we keep our word.
Perfect. Well, we've got it on record.
So in a couple of months, we're going to see a revised one that actually gives some of the member groups back a little bit of power. And, maybe not everything is the sole discretion of the chief of police.
Well, Mayor and the Mayor for town, you can't hold us to exactly 2 months.
No, a few months. A few months.
Within the calendar.
Sorry, I'm from the Midwest. I slur my words.
Everything's negotiable. I think we're trying to do the right things here, and it's a tiger by the tail. And I probably shouldn't be speaking the mics, we'll go on the record, but we really do have a tiger by the tail here because we're trying to do the right things, run a dispatch center with, 18 different entities, which is worse than Congress sometimes, okay? And I say that with the utmost sincerity. It's very, very difficult. And we all have our different interests that we're trying to do, but maintain, but understand that we've got a really, really good thing going here. We're paying less than $1 million for 18 agencies to use this. I've been to 2 other agencies in my career. The one we pay well over $6.5 million a year. That's not even in the same league. But the last one I came from, where you had one small agency that was about the size of Cortez, one fire department, which was about the size of Cortez Fire Protection District, and one dinky little like 2-person outline thing, $1.1 million, and that was in 2021 dollars. And that was not even close to what we got, and it didn't work as well as what we got. Right now, all of us have the opportunity to take a bite from this pretty cheap apple. Yeah, you heard the former sheriff mention that, and I don't know what years those were, sir, but that was a long time ago, and $1.5 million back then was not unreasonable, and it's probably a lot more now. I'm trying desperately to keep everybody happy and not upset things, but also, and do the right things while maintaining a good thing that we have going here. We're very, very lucky to have what we have.
Let's hear, Justin, you want to speak?
So I would agree with Heather. I'd ask the board to sign it because I feel comfortable from my position working on fixing the IGA with us signing the current IGA. So right now, I'm operating on the one that the mayor previously signed because we're not on this one, and just for good governance and how I look at it, I'm going off of the one that our signatory is on versus the one that's out there that we have yet to sign. That's all I was going to add to the conversation. So
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you, Justin.
And, okay, go ahead.
Maybe you could, this is more of a clarification. So our last discussion around this, the county commissioner mentioned that the county pays for all of the equipment inside. So this all just seems piecemeal, and it just
On the outside, it seems that.
It's just really, really important, and I agree with all this. And you guys work really well together, but I just think it's never clear where this money's coming from, who owns what. It's never transparent about, and then we get this, well, I'm privileged to this, but I think our constituents need to know, okay, so the county pays for this, the city pays for this, but really, what's the
Well, we
truth?
pay for the equipment through our phones.
It's
Our
certain
phones,
911.
911 service on there. That goes to the county. The county is the 911 board, and then they use that to purchase the equipment at the dispatch.
It is, and you're right, and it's complicated. So what you have is we are what's called the Public Safety Answering Point, the PSAP. Okay, but we're the only ones for the county and, part of Dolores County and everything else. Your E911 thing, if you look at your cell phone bill and it says you are charged a fee on that goes to the E911 board, which happens to be our county commissioners. They, with that, are only authorized to basically buy equipment. That equipment can only go to the local PSAP. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that, in my mind, that's a good thing. We wouldn't want our council, who is over the dispatch, to also be over the 911 thing. So we have a separation of duties there. That's healthy. And then we have to go to them and request equipment or money for equipment. That goes to us. So the capital piece, the brick and mortar items there and the hardware is owned not by the county, but by the E911 board. But the only place that can go to is to the local PSAP. Now, the operating of that equipment, the location, all of that is run by the city of Cortez under the auspices of the Cortez Police Department. The records that you're requesting, anything financial, they are literally on our website. We have provided those. We have provided to anybody. They're readily available. They are provided at our annual meetings, and It's super easy to get, and it's the same thing everybody else gets. There's no secrets. We don't want any secrets. We are open and as transparent as we possibly be. If you want to come in to see the checks, come on in. That's about the only thing I can't put on the website. For the rest of us there, we don't play games. We don't play shell games. This is a complicated thing, but you just kind of have to understand the structure.
Okay. Drew, I think that the itemized thing that we're talking about is like our 911 logs. Like when we've requested that multiple years now that I've been on the board, like how many calls we have for our, no?
No. What, I think this goes back to some of the things that I wanted to clarify, but so the invoice, and I think that's what came up because the amount of the invoice, excuse me, that we receive requires that it goes to you all, because we need 4 signatures to do
Mm-hmm.
The invoice that you see just says dispatch services.
Yeah, that's
There's
what
no
I meant.
itemization.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We receive information in the dispatch users group that lists out their budget, each user's proportionate share, each user's calls, that kind of thing. So we do get some information. The other piece of that is there has also been, when we were talking to Gerald at the last meeting, what Gerald said was they don't have a list of equipment, the E911 equipment. They've been working on it, nobody ever kept track of it. So I think there are 3 different things that we're talking about here, and that's causing some confusion. So what I'm doing, last meeting, this meeting, meetings with Drew, is I'm making a list of everybody's questions and everybody's confusion, and then Drew and I will get together when he's not on the spot right here, so that I can say, hey, can I have this information? Hey, how do we get this information? If we can get it, great. If it's not available, at least we'll know that. Whether or not we can either say, can we start making it available, or however that works. But there are 3 separate finance pieces, and I think that may be where some of the confusion is coming in. And that's something that, again, I'm peripherally aware of stuff, but until it comes to the top of my head, it didn't occur to me to itemize the dispatch bill that you see with the check attached that you all sign. So now that I know that that's something that
we just get it, one line.
Well, now that we know that that's something of concern, and rightfully so, and it should have occurred to me, but there will be backup. So some of this stuff, like I said, I've already come up with an idea to fix. Some of it I wanted to talk to Drew about. Some of it I think Justin and Vern can work. And Marshall, the police chief, can work out. So I do think that some of this stuff is fixed.
Yeah, and that'll be good because, I mean, we give $1,500 to a nonprofit and we demand and receive, a 10-page itemized list of how they spent our money.
Correct.
Not everybody's money, but our money. And if we can't get that when we're spending $40,000 to $60,000, it doesn't sit well.
And it's on my list. And I will, it's one of those things that once some other more important, in my opinion, more important issues are solved, those are things that I will obviously circle back around to. I have a list, I have a folder.
Yeah.
Well, the changes that you've made are better than it was.
We didn't make any changes to the contract, but we did get some answers.
Right.
And so I've included that information and said, this is, it's okay.
Right. Yeah, but I do think the word may or may not, I think that needs to come out there. He will, if he gets a request or, I know even with our VFW auxiliary, we get 5 people that want a meeting, they have to call a special meeting, period. There's no questions about it. So, I just think there's some issues that you need to work on. I will sign it with your recommendation if the board agrees with that, but it's not a good contract.
And we'll keep working on that. We will.
Drew, I want to thank you guys for coming and getting into the blender.
Yeah, thank you.
And I kind of understand what you're doing with the police chief. He's the one of authority inside the dispatch center, and the board's what runs it.
Right.
All right. Just kind of like this board. If we have a problem with somebody in the town, we go to Heather.
Right.
because she runs the town. All right?
It's designed to make him more accountable.
Right.
Yeah.
I get that, but thank you guys for coming.
Yeah,
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
I will say that I've been on the board now 6 months, I believe. I haven't heard one complaint from Mancus. So if we hear it, they can bring it to the board and we all hear it. And he has no choice but to address it. So
Okay.
if you have a complaint, please let us know. Just because you pay money doesn't mean you can't complain.
Right. Right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen. Yeah,
Thank you.
guys.
Okay, any further questions? All right, then I would entertain a motion.
I move we approve Resolution 6, Series 2024, a resolution approving the intergovernmental agreement for dispatch services throughout Montezuma and Dolores Counties, Colorado, including federal agencies authorizing Mayor Ellen Queenie Bars to execute the dispatch services intergovernmental agreement and authorizing the Mancus Marshal to appoint a representative and an alternate to the user group represent the town of Mancus.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Brent McGruder and a second by trustee Nick Manning to approve Resolution 6, Series 2024, a resolution approving the intergovernmental agreement for dispatch services throughout Montezuma and Dolores counties, Colorado, including federal agencies, authorizing Mayor Ellen Queenie Bars to execute the dispatch services intergovernmental agreement and authorizing the Mancus Marshal to appoint a representative and an alternate to the user group to represent the town of Mancus. Jamie, would you call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson,
Under protest, aye.
Trustee Denise Bryan,
Aye.
Trustee Nick Manning.
Aye.
Trustee Richard Tipcar,
Aye.
Trustee Brent McWhirter.
Aye.
Trustee Ed Allen.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, moving right along, Region 9 MOU for IQ Geo software. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank
See ya.
Jason.
Good evening.
State your name for the record.
And your address.
So, as you guys know, we've been working on the carrier initial location room here, and as we've gone through the process, I've been working on this committee with Region 9. Shaq leads it, but there's some really technical expertise on that committee that's kind of writing some SOPs, some security measures. We're trying to build in some consistency with pricing across all of the CNOs that are going to be part of this network, just to give ISPs a little more consistency and comfort as they come into the region, because what we want to do is promote confidence, and we get as many as we can, and that brings the price down for the end users. Kind of to that end, we've vetted several different mapping softwares for these fiber optic networks. We kind of agreed that this was the best one. It's the easiest one for all of us to understand, really. And so what we're asking is that you guys approve Heather to sign the MOU. What that's going to get us is access to this software for at least a year. And if it's working, from everybody's perspective, then it'll just automatically renew. But this will really just allow us to be able to work with ISPs better to identify issues and get things fixed when something goes wrong. So, questions? What's up?
I have one thing to add. One of the things that we will be asking Region 9 to add to this contract is the Tabor language that is subject to appropriation, like is subject to appropriation by the board each year. Because that way you can choose to terminate the contract or not appropriate. So we are going to reach out to Region 9 and ask them to add that Tabor language. As a municipality, they're not a municipality, so what we needed in our contract.
Yeah.
So we are going to ask them to add that language to this contract.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, it's okay. I got a late email, so I just wanted to let you all know that. Because I got that after.
I have a question. This is all, I feel like
Don't ask me anything technical.
Please let me ask you a technical question. Why does the application of the software make it more likely to have ISPs come to this area? What's the connection between this and what you said?
Well, I think it's what I was kind of pointing to is just the consistency across the region. If we're all using the same software, they'll inherently understand what all of us are doing. Yeah, and I mean, it just didn't make a lot of sense to us to have everybody kind of picking and choosing their own software to map this. And my guess is the ISPs understand the software pretty well too.
Yeah, so it's like recognized, obviously, to use in the industry.
It's an industry standard.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Makes a lot of
That was a good question.
Thanks, Ryan.
I didn't even know enough to ask.
I don't know.
didn't either.
I don't know enough to ask a hard question, but.
Well, I also think it's less expensive for us to share.
Yo.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're gonna have to go out and high,
Yeah.
so it's less expensive for us to share the
Yeah.
cost. So, and back to that consistency, we do that whenever possible. You know, the clerks, we all use the same forms for elections.
Yeah.
Just with our logo, again, it's easy.
Yeah.
The CNL lease will be generally the same, again, across the region, because it makes it easy.
That makes total sense.
It's just one of those. And if we run into something that we can't handle and we're calling check or bringing it for help, if we're all following kind of the same template and the same procedure, tweak a little bit for our jurisdiction, it just makes it easier for us because this is not something where we're ever gonna have dedicated IT staff. This is just, either Jason does some stuff, I do some stuff, or some stuff. So if we can keep it, then we can call for test for hours.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, with elections, you know, it's like, oh, we need some help, you know, then everybody can help because we all use the same. Yeah.
Speaking the same language.
So that makes sense. So this will be staff run, once we get it all set up.
Yeah, what's the input from the staff? What do they?
What's the question?
This particular piece is Jason.
Mr. Staff?
Mr. Staff.
Do you use the software?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think Heather and I still have some conversations about how we're gonna manage this. I will say, Bayfield is elected to go into a contract with Region 9 to have them manage their CNL. Yeah, because they don't have the capacity. Bayfield's a different animal than we have here, so I don't think we're rising to that level of needing to contract that out. But I think as we get familiar with the software, Heather and I can make some informed decisions about how to manage the situation. So,
Well, and we'll want to see the software, we'll want to see the SOPs that the region is drafting.
yeah.
We'll want to see if they come up with a lease template. I have one, but we'll want to see if somebody else comes up, the region comes up with one. I personally still have a lot of information, final information, that we want to see, so that we can decide what's best for Memphis. Maybe we use the same lease template. Maybe we choose to manage it in-house. But without SOPs and without the templates that the region is drafting, I can't provide any feedback to you or to the staff or recommendations or anything until we have those documents.
So that SOP process, we've been going at it for like 2 or 3 months. We're calling it the CNL Manifesto at this point. But I think that we're pretty close to having that finished. The group is, and then obviously we'll have a lot more information for Heather and I to consider. So.
IT people and engineers. If you put them all in a room, it's going to be way harder than it has to be.
Yeah, with
so,
Yeah.
Sure.
But so they're working on it, and once, like I said, once
No
the
offense,
draft
David.
documents are ready, we'll look at them and decide what's best.
We welcome you. Oh man, no more engineer
Your
jokes?
people are welcome. Okay. So.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
So I would entertain a motion, or does anybody have any other questions, any comments?
No.
I would entertain a motion.
I move we approve the memoranda of understanding between the town of Mancos and the Region 9 Economic Development District of Southwest Colorado, Southwest Colorado Council of Governments, with the changes for Tabor.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Brent McWhirter and a second by trustee Denise Bryan to approve the memorandum of understanding between the town of Mancos and the Region 9 Economic Development District of Southwest Colorado, Inc., Southwest Colorado Council of Governments with the table language added. Jamie, would you call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson.
Happily, aye.
Trustee Denise Bryan.
Aye.
Trustee McManning. Trustee Richard Tokai. Trustee Brent McWhirter.
Aye.
Trustee Ed Allen.
Sure.
Okay. Moving right along, we have items for the April 24th meeting. We will appoint the Mayor Pro Tem, reappoint the Town Clerk Treasurer and Town Marshal, resolution to be determined, Series 2024, appoint the Town Attorney and renew the contract. Resolution to be determined, Series 2024, appoint primary and substitute municipal judge. The second round, 2024 agency contribution applications, engineer on-call contract renewal, and the contractor on-call contract renewal. And don't we have the swearing in of the, wouldn't that be before the appointment of the Jim?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's get ready to get out of here.
I put it on the agenda for that.
Okay. So then next on our agenda is executive session.
I have to beat them.
Hi, everybody. Have a good night.
Which one?
Have a good night, Tori.
Bye, Tori. Bye, Randy.
Bye.
They all are.
Yeah.
I know.
High school days is at the track and field.
Yeah, junior high, high school.
But that's bad.
Okay, all right.
Cool.
Quarter in the court.
High jump. Well, she's pretty damn high anyway.
Wait a minute.
They beat you.
I would entertain a motion to enter executive session.
I move we go into executive session for a conference with the town attorney for purposes of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions under CRS section 24-6-402, parens 4, parens B, regarding wastewater treatment plant litigation.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson and second by trustee Brent McWhirter to go into executive session for a conference with the town attorney for purposes of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions under CRS section 24-6-402, parentheses 4, parentheses B, regarding the wastewater treatment plant litigation. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed.